Hello and welcome back to the How to Date a Sports Guy YouTube channel. I'm your host, Andrew Gambardella III, and today is part 2 of How to Date a New York Sports Fan. Back in the part 1 video, we have foods, interests of New York sports fans that come outside of sports, and detailing all of the many sports teams that you can find in New York. But in today's video, in part 2, we're going to talk about the mentality of a New York sports fan and who New York sports fans are most compatible with. Now, just like part 1 of the video, part 2, we're going to break this up into 2 main groups of teams in New York. We have the Mets, Jets, and Nets fans, and the Giants, Yankees, Knicks fans. Now, we'll get right into it, and we'll start with the mentality of these sports fans. Now, with Mets, Jets, and Nets fans, they're younger franchises. They were formed sometimes much later than Yankees, Giants, and their Knicks counterparts. But with regards to the Mets, Jets, and Nets mentality, they're almost like a little sibling, a younger sibling, or a younger cousin, where they view their older siblings or older cousins' accomplishments. And it's not that they're not happy for them and not happy for their accomplishments, but they see every time that the Yankees, Giants, or Knicks win, it makes it that much harder for their franchises to be seen as the real teams of New York and the better team in New York. So they just see that the bar keeps getting set higher and higher for them, and that makes them press even harder and harder to try to do a better job. Which is why Mets, Nets, and Jets fans tend to be very realistic about their teams and pretty hopeful, but pessimistic almost that it might not end up well for them, because a lot of the times it just doesn't end well for Mets, Jets, and Nets fans. On the flip side of this, we have the Yankees, Giants, and Knicks fans. For them, mentally wise, this is where I fall. I'm a Yankees and Giants fan, and my mom's from Chicago, so I chose to be a Bulls and Blackhawks fan as well. And I have been for my whole life. But I will say that the majority of Yankees, Giants fans, we tend to maybe be a little bit spoiled at times, and maybe that spoiled like golden child syndrome, where we're winning a lot, we have unbelievable and very unrealistic expectations for our teams, where it's win or bust. I mean, it's if we make the playoffs, that's cool, but it's not anything that we're gonna write home about. It's championship or really the season's a failure. Whereas with the flip side, with Mets, Jets, and Nets fans, if they make the playoffs for the first time in a long time, like the Jets, and they get and make a deep playoff run, not necessarily win it all, I think they'd be happy and content with that. Whereas Yankees, Giants, and Knicks fans are only content with a championship, and anything less is a failure for that season. Now, with regards to who New York sports fans are compatible with, this also has to be split between our Nets, Jets, Mets, and Yankees, Giants, Knicks, because Yankees, Giants, Knicks fans not very compatible with a lot of other sports fans in the world, especially Philadelphia with the Eagles, Giants. That's just not going to work. With regards to Yankees, Red Sox, Boston's just out of the picture completely. And then you have, most of the other teams, most of the other small market teams, like maybe like out in Minnesota, or a team like the Charlotte Hornets, or the Panthers and Hornets. We might not have a rivalry with those teams, but they don't like the Yankees, the Giants. They don't like the Knicks. But I think where Yankees Giants fans could find some common ground is in Chicago. The Bulls have a great history. The Cubs and White Sox have some championship pedigree. And with regards out on the West Coast in LA as well, with the Dodgers, and the Warriors in the San Francisco area, even the Giants. Some of the California teams and Chicago, I say bigger cities. I guess New York's Yankees Giants fans could be slightly more compatible with them than they would with regards to the rest of the spectrum of teams in the country. Now, with regards to Mets, Jets, Nets fans, because the Jets play with the Patriots and the proximity to Philly's not really compatible with anybody, but then they're not compatible with Boston either. But really, Mets, Jets, and Nets fans are not going to be hated on or disliked by pretty much most of every professional sports team in the country, because they have this gritty underdog mentality with the Mets, Jets, and Nets. Because they don't have the history of winning, they're much easier to be okay with other fans in the country. And I think with fans out in like Minnesota, I think Minnesota fan base would be very compatible with Nets, Jets, and Mets fans. And also just teams out like the Houston area. There's a lot of like Utah. I mean, pretty much everywhere else in the country. All of the Florida teams, like I mentioned before, the Charlotte teams as well would be compatible with Mets, Jets, and Nets fans. I think it's much easier to find compatibility with a Mets, Jets, and Nets fan with regards to other sports fans in the country than it is a Yankees, Giants, and Knicks fan. That doesn't make our Yankees, Giants, and Knicks fans any less lovable as a sports fan, but it does make them more dislikable by other sports fans and other sports bases. And in conclusion, New York sports fans as a whole, whether you're Yankees, Giants, or Mets, Jets, they are loud, they are laughable in defeat, they are very loyal, and for all of these reasons, no, they might not be the best to be around when they're losing, but what sports fan is great to be around when they're losing? I think New York sports fans can be classy in defeat, and for all of these reasons in this video, I think the positives outweigh the negatives, and you can build a successful relationship with a New York sports fan. I hope this video helped. Again, I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the support, and have a great rest of your week.